You are now listening to Can't Feel the Heat, the unofficial podcast about the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival. Our mission is to explore the complexities of Coachella, covering the news, music, artists, technology, and business of the festival. Please rate us on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on all of your favorite platforms. Follow us on Instagram at Can't Feel the Heat and check out our website at www.can'tfeeltheheat.com. Can't Feel the Heat is hosted by Tom Nash and Vanessa Franco.
Welcome back to Can't Feel the Heat. We are the hosts. I am Tom Nash and Vanessa Franco. What's up, Vanessa?
Hello, it's happening. We're finally here. We've been waiting for this for 3 long years. It's Coachella week, Tom.
We are recording on Tuesday at 5:45 p.m. We do not have the set times yet, but we are so excited to get going and be at Coachella real soon. Our guest today is Michael Greco. Michael is a festival enthusiast and promoter, and I got to know about him because he organized a huge group of people on Facebook who are going to Coachella Weekend 2, pushing 6,000 people almost in the group now. So welcome to the podcast, Michael.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it, Tom.
Yeah, you're welcome. So now we have the news update. Not too much has gone down since we last recorded, but we recorded right before the weekend got announced, so that's one thing. Vanessa, what else happened?
Yeah, that was just that we found out the new headliner for Sunday. The weekend's showing up with Swedish House Mafia. The other big thing, we haven't seen a lot yet, right? Like, we're all waiting for set times. In fact, every time Coachella tweets, everyone's like, "That's a funny way to spell set times," because it's not the set times. If you saw Anita's moving, she was on Saturday. Now she's going to be on Friday. One of the big things, the weather's looking pretty good for those of you going out weekend one. It only looks like the low to mid 90s. We've also found out that the YouTube stream is coming back. We don't know who's going to be on the YouTube stream yet, but they are doing both weekends. It sounds like lots of interviews and things, so just be aware, because weekend 2, I know people have complained in the past about the Coachella curated not being like the full-on stream. Yeah. But probably the biggest thing is more NFT news. Like, I know I've been on here talking about the NFTs before, but they just released one with 88 Rising. 88 Rising is a music collective. They do the Head in the Clouds Festival out here. It was in Pasadena next to the Rose Bowl, where Golden Voice has been doing a lot of festivals. And they really support a lot of Asian artists, like Asian artists from all over the world and artists of Asian descent. They are going to have a showcase at the festival. So they released some NFTs. They are already like selling out. There are already like ones that are like going for like crazy amounts of money, kind of like the Coachella keys. And the really cool thing is that anyone going to the festival, you can actually go on an NFT scavenger hunt with 88 Rising. And if you find like things with their, I believe it's their logo, you can actually, if you unlock it, you can mint your own exclusive NFT at the festival.
Awesome. Thank you for the update. Let's get to know Michael a little bit. Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Facebook group that you put together?
Sure. Absolutely. I appreciate it. So, this being, and I think we were talking about this earlier, it's my first Coachella. So just kind of did what I normally do when I'm going to a new festival, which is kind of just do a deep dive into all the particulars about the festival, getting to know all about camping and set times and tickets and shipping and all that good stuff. And I kind of learned a lot of that stuff. I actually work alongside of as a promoter for another AEG, sort of a sister festival to Coachella, which is Firefly Music Festival here on the East Coast. So I've done promotions for them for years. And so that's what kind of got me wanting to go to Coachella finally. And this is my year to do it. So again, I just wanted to bring people together, which is what I do, have done for festivals for a long time. And so here we are.
Awesome. So who are you excited to see?
Honestly, I'm really excited for Billie Eilish, even though I've seen her once before, just because I got such a newfound, admiration for her, when I saw her at Firefly, and The Weeknd as well, just because I haven't seen him in years as well. There's also like a lower, a little further down the lineup. There's a band that I became familiar with just recently. It's called L'Impératrice, which is a French band. They're a French disco band, and really, really good. I just actually interviewed them the other night.
You interviewed them?
I did actually. So my visit to Coachella is, in addition to going as a fan, is sort of multifaceted. I'm actually going to be there on assignment for a magazine that I'm now writing for. It's called Atwood Magazine. It's an online magazine, and so I'm doing a feature on them as well as one on the festival.
Amazing. I love that band.
Come find me in the press tent. I'll be there, and then we're all going to go dance to them because that is Tom's like one of his most anticipated sets of the entire festival.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Tom. It's bonkers. Their set is absolutely crazy. It's just such a pure disco sound, and it's half English, half French. So, but like you find yourself singing along, and like even in French, it's really crazy. So yeah, I can't wait to see them again.
I'm a little bummed that their new album has so much English on it. I like the French. It's so sophisticated, right? It just like elevates the music, I think.
Yeah.
Can you talk at all about what they revealed in the interview? Anything cool that they're working on or anything like that?
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't know that it's really revealing or anything like that, but just talking to them, it's sort of twofold. Initially, my first piece that I was going to do at Coachella, which is I'm going to be doing a lot of artist interviews to get some quotes, for a feature that I'm doing about festival culture and about the evolution of music festivals since like about the 90s, sort of the advent of technology and stuff like that. So I want to get an artist's take on it. But since I got to see them here in Philadelphia, I found out it was a good opportunity for me to then go see them and actually do an interview with them just about them and just about the new album. And I'm going to be submitting a separate piece for that as well. As far as anything, I guess, revealing, I think they were just really excited about the beginning of the tour. So they were really amped about that. I've been sort of following along with them on Instagram and talking back and forth with them. So it's an exciting time for them.
I was just listening to friend of the pod, Justin Cohen's podcast, Top Fives and Deep Dives. And I'm pretty sure if they weren't his number one, they're his number two of the whole weekend as well. So what's up, Justin? I saw you might be coming weekend two as well. And Justin had said something about like that East Coast tour that you caught him on. It's just been crazy, like it's crazy successful for them. Was that the vibe that you saw there? Like really successful, sold out show?
Absolutely. It was. So I saw them at Brooklyn Bowl, which is here in Philadelphia. And it's a really cool venue that has bowling alleys in it. And it's a concert venue. And it's just really, really a great vibe. Like I said, they were sort of amped up because it was the first stop on the tour. And then they were going to New York and they're going to DC and all these other great places. I think they had a stop off in Canada. But yeah, it's such a great vibe, such a great energy in the room. Like I said, I really got to get a sense of why people go to see them.
I love it. Okay. We're definitely on the same page so far. What else do you want to see?
I mean, like I said, headliners this year for me are kind of the big attractor. Because like I said, I grew this newfound respect for Billie Eilish. But, I'm looking forward to The Weeknd. Doja Cat is one that I've been sort of listening to lately too. Is sort of kind of bopping along in my car too. And I guess there's a whole bunch of others that are sort of escaping me right now.
Amazing. So who else do you want to see?
One artist that I'm really intrigued with is Harry Styles.
Yes!
I have such a respect for what he does. He's the classic showman. You can tell how he captures an audience, and I've seen it on footage. I've seen it on, YouTube and videos and stuff like that, but I'm dying to see it live because, like I said, he's just such a pure showman. And I guess another one, King Gizzard, one that I always make a point of going to see a band that I'm really not familiar with. But, I've heard so many good things about them that I'm like, I got to go check them out. And I sort of trying not to look behind the curtain too much because I kind of want to be surprised by them. But yeah, like them. And I guess, I think that Maggie Rogers is another one that I love.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a whole bunch. I could go on.
Well, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I feel like I should warn you that when you go see King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard, you need to wear protection for your face because it's going to get melted off.
Nice. I mean, because of how hot it is in the desert or because of the show?
Because of the show. Okay. I am so excited. In fact, today I was listening to Rattlesnake to get amped up for this final push the last couple of days of doing all my work before I get ready to go out there. So I am so excited to see them. Last time they played in the middle of the day, I feel like we're going to get a nighttime show and it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah. I have a friend who really, he's a huge fan and he's like, God, I can't believe you're going to get to go see him. And I'm like, don't tell me too much. Like I said, this is the one thing that I do at every festival, especially a new festival, is I'm like, I have to find a band that I want to discover and I want to be surprised and I want to experience it from fresh eyes. So yeah, I'm excited.
All right. So Next thing we're going to cover is just going over some tips. So I think what makes sense is to kind of go around the circle and everyone give a tip, and we'll just kind of bang these out. It's obviously a little bit last minute, but we have to do a tips episode. So I'll lead off and I'll get there first. I got a locker for the first time in 2019, and I really liked it because I've always been the guy who's carried around a big backpack, and it's so much better not to do that. So you can book your lockers in advance and then plan out basically either bring a jacket, or I think I even brought whole change of clothes for nighttime, just to go into after the sun sets, go there and kind of reset yourself and have to put on some clean clothes. Locker was a big new thing for me. So Vanessa, what do you think?
I mean, I think that along the lines of the locker, which by the way, definitely get it early because they do sell out. There are very few that open up when you're out there. Is before you even get the locker, go look at the rules. The rules have changed significantly this year for some things. Backpacks need to be a little smaller. So my number one tip is actually go to the Coachella site and see what's allowed and what isn't allowed. Same thing, your sunscreen. This isn't a new rule, but you can't bring aerosol sunscreen in. It needs to be liquid.
Really?
So my number one tip is actually don't just assume you can bring anything in. Go read that list. Totally go read it first.
Yeah. So many festivals you see in Europe, the big flagpoles, right? And then they don't have that at Coachella. No flagpoles.
No totems.
Unless they change it this year.
No, they say no. Now, I will say this. They say no totems, no signs. I always see people with signs. Flags, I don't see them on a big pole, but I have seen people bring flags in.
Yeah.
But, a lot of that stuff is going to get taken away. It's not like EDC or any of the Insomniac festivals where they're yes, bring your totem so you can find your friends. So, yes, definitely be aware of that. And if that's what you're counting on so your friends can find you, maybe come up with a backup plan.
Right on. All right, Mike, what do you got?
So it's funny. I know that we initially you had let me know that we were going to be presenting some tips, and I was kind of looking at what you guys had presented. Obviously, there's things like let's stay hydrated, let's check out lockers, stuff like that. I think some of the ones that I came up with were a little bit more from an experiential standpoint. Yeah. So it's kind of saying things that I've kind of said at a lot of festivals, and especially for newcomers, people who are new to festivals, things like, the saying that, it's a marathon, not a sprint, which kind of leads into a lot of the conversations like hydration, making sure that you sleep, not everything you drink has to be beer, so it's those kinds of things. I always throw some little things out to people too. I'll say, talk to some strangers while you're there. Talk to people that you don't know. Waiting in line for something, strike up a conversation with someone you don't know. Something we alluded to earlier is go see a band you know nothing about. Just go in blind and, see what kind of experience you get from it. So those are kind of some of the things that I, kind of always put out there.
Yeah, I love it. I want to dig into some of these a little bit because there's a lot of gold there. The thing with a marathon and not a sprint, I'm actually ecstatic to see The Weeknd. I love the new album. I love the last album, Blinding Lights. I heard on a different podcast was announced to be the biggest hit of all time, passing The Twist by Chubby Checker. The Weeknd's a huge get. I'm so excited. And that just changes the whole weight of the festival for me. Like you're saying, it's a marathon, not a sprint, just to make it to Sunday night. Because in 2019, I was sleeping during Ariana Grande. I could kind of hear it from my tent, but I did not make it. But then again, I'm there at noon every day. So, yeah, man. So I'm going to be thinking a lot about pacing myself to make it to get a great spot for The Weeknd in Swedish House Mafia. I'm so excited to see The Weeknd. It's so much better vibes for the festival. Think about leaving the festival, the closer of the festival, having Kanye up there. Who knows what he's going to do, but pretty large chance it's just very negative in terms of the energy that he would bring. So switching that up to something that's just Swedish House Mafia with The Weeknd, where it's just so joyful. And obviously The Weeknd's got some darker themes too. But it's fun music. Come on, it's going to be great. So yeah, the marathon, not a sprint, is definitely something I'm going to be thinking about a lot.
And something to keep in mind too, right? So this is the first time a lot of us are going back. I mean, it's obviously the first time we're going back to Coachella since 2019, but it may be the first time a lot of people are going back to the festival. It's a lot. It's going to be a lot of people. Something to be aware of is the Everyone tent. They started this in 2019, I believe was the first year. And it's a place where if you just need to get away, if you're feeling overwhelmed, especially folks who have a lot of sensory overload, definitely, it was kind of near the main like food area when you first come in. That's where they had it in the past. And it was a way, like, it was quiet, it was calming. They were playing soothing music. A lot of people used it like at Stagecoach, I know, but that is something to keep in mind. Like, if you just need a minute and you need some space, definitely check that out. I like to find, like, honestly, the Yuma tent during the day is kind of that for me. Like, I've kind of holed up in there with my laptop before, and like, I just need to be away from people right now. And usually early in the day, like, Yuma's not like totally going off like crazy, but absolutely, like, and remember to pace yourself, and like, dehydration is serious business. Stay hydrated. We all forget what it's like. Like, I mean, again, it's been a while. Like, my first festival back was Day Trip, and the sun totally got me. I was like, I'm fine. I've done this for like, I don't know, 15 years. Yeah. You know, I was like right back. I was like, I thought I was going to get heat stroke. And so I've been like, I've already been hydrating all week long. So stay hydrated, stay hydrated, stay hydrated some more.
Amazing. Another thing I want to comment on what Mike said is the talking to strangers. I love it. Also, be mindful if someone comes up to you and is extremely friendly. I heard this happen to people who were camping next to me last year, is those were actually like professional pickpockets, and they got the guy's phone. And he was saying, like, these guys came up and when they were just so innocent and like they were just like so genuinely like wanting to be friends with him, and then they left, and like 5 minutes later he realized his phone was gone.
Yeah.
So don't bring anything that you're not willing to lose. I have sad stories about that. First of all, sunglasses will be lost. Nice cameras will be lost. Take personal responsibility for everything you bring in. Don't expect anyone else to watch your stuff, because their favorite band is going to come on the stage at that moment and they're not watching your stuff. But then with the phones, just like review some basics, like tips on how to avoid pickpockets. I keep my phone in the front pocket, right?
Yep.
That's a big one. So yeah, I've got a few more. Vanessa, I know you've got a few more to throw in there, but you got to get there early. Man, one year, so my wife's birthday always lines up with Coachella, and it does this year on Saturday. And I think it was Sunday in 2017. And like, because it was her birthday, we were just chilling, having cake, got there way later than we ever got there before. And we waited in line for over an hour to park, and it was just miserable. So I'll never have that happen to me again. I don't know. I think it was kind of a freak thing that happened that year, but get there early. You can relax by the pool in the morning, but get your butt there and see some bands. No excuses. Play like a champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't, like, I mean, especially when you look at like that 4 o'clock, like from 4 o'clock on is when it really starts to get crazy and you start to see people coming in. You can always tell because that's like when everyone's phone stops working, like around like 4 to 6. By like 6 o'clock, you can't get a signal for anything. So yeah, definitely plan on getting there early. Remember where you park your car. Don't be that person going up and back. They have, I know I have an iPhone and I can drop a pin to let me know where they have, like where my car is. That has saved me. I will say this, Coachella's been a lot better in recent years about lighting the path and lighting the parking lots. There were like some early years where where it was rough.
Shout out to my friend Angel getting lost in the horse pastures.
Yeah. Right. So it's a lot better, but still that's something to keep in mind. If you are trying to Uber, keep an eye on things, because like I've just heard nothing but horror stories about the Uber and rideshare lines at the end of the night. Yeah. So like one thing I know, and I think it was on the group where this came up, where somebody was like, is it worth it to get a shuttle pass or like Uber in and out? And a lot of people were recommending Uber to a shuttle spot. And yes, do that. Like the shuttles are running, like they've got the shuttle system. They've been doing it for years. They've got it down. So I think that like if you're kind of on the fence that way and you can get a shuttle pass, that's the way to go.
I love it. We're going to just go rapid fire on some of these. Big piece of advice I have is just don't hang out in the sun, generally speaking, unless you're watching an amazing set, of course, on the Coachella stage or the outdoor stage. But I know people are like into just like hanging out by the pool beforehand. I just say like caution, like just avoid the sun overall. That's just going to suck your energy down real quick. Another one is learn the map. One time someone was trying to meet up with me and I told them exactly where I was. I was like something like I named the specific speaker at the outdoor stage, and he just responded and said, I don't know what you're talking about. So it's like, how do you expect me to tell you where I am if you don't know like the basic layout of the map? And then with that is like having specific meeting spots. I'm a big advocate of meeting. I think a good meeting spot is like one of the speakers towards the back of wherever you're at, because then worst case scenario, like it's running late and like not, you're waiting for someone to come. At least you're by the speaker and you can like hear the show really well. That's probably as good as it's going to get for a lot of people who are short anyway, because they can't see anything. So being by the speaker is good.
On behalf of short people, I don't know if I'm mad or if I'm like, that's a really good like point, right? That is a really good point. The other like things that I'm telling everybody, also bring, especially if you're standing next to a speaker, bring earplugs. Just the ones that you get at the drugstore are fine. Bring them. Save your hearing. One of my friends, he seriously went up way close to the year that Bob Mould played, and we still talk about it every April. He's like, oh yeah, that's when I started to lose my hearing. And we're like, yeah, because you went running up there without the earplugs. I'm also bringing masks. Like, you know, if you've ever done, and this is very important for the Coachella first timers, like you, Michael, bring a mask, because the Coachella lung is real. You don't want that dust and that dirt. Trust me. I've been there. Last time I had to get an inhaler, like it got really ugly. So like mask. I'm also wearing a mask because we have people coming from all over the place. And while there is not a very high transmission of COVID-19 right now in Riverside County, since people are coming from all over, I'm going to be armed with hand sanitizer and masks.
Yep. Great point.
All right. Let's just kind of go over a few more things. One thing that's just kind of meaningful to me, it's not so practical, but just to get the full Coachella experience, I would just try to look at one non-English speaking artist. We talked about Ley Imperatriz, so many Latin artists on the bill. Do something a little eclectic and see one non-English speaking artist. Can't go wrong. Mix it up a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, that's also really not hard to do at Coachella.
So easy.
Like, there's so many international artists. And especially this year. In fact, we just wrote a story, like, it is, like, the biggest, like, Latino lineup we've ever seen at Coachella. So you can go see so many people. Or Ley Imperatriz, if you want to hear something like French disco. There's so many options.
That's such a great point too, and it actually reminds me of something that I really noticed this year. With we started talking about the Facebook group. Like I said, I manage a page for Firefly here on the East Coast, and such a huge difference in the audience. Like the international aspect to Coachella, it's amazing. I mean, like generally speaking, our fans here on the East Coast, a lot of them come from within like a 250-mile radius to the festival, like a large percentage of them. Whereas here I'm seeing people from literally every country all over the globe. So it's really nice. I mean, it's such a great, it's such a great way to see the festival through someone else's eyes who's maybe has a different culture and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's going to be really, I'm excited for that.
Got to talk to some Australian people. They're so fun.
They're the most fun.
Vanessa, you know what I'm talking about? Yes. They always represent so hard at Coachella. And I got to think with the Avalanches there this year. I mean, there's always great Australian music, but I feel like there's something about the Avalanches that, they're a huge deal in Australia from what I've read. So I'm so excited to see them. That's one that wasn't so much on my radar. And then it just come up several times online, just reading the buzz. And I'm so excited for them now. That's going to be a great one. All right. Do we got any more tips, guys? Or are we thinking if people follow that, they'll pretty much have them covered?
One other thing for the first timers. There are bathrooms that aren't porta potties. They are across from the beer barn, and they are absolutely worth the wait.
Yes, those are good. I remember when the moment I discovered those, the first year they came, and I'm like, This is a big deal, guys. We have like permanent nice bathrooms. Man, so good. Yeah,
I may have done a story ranking all the bathrooms at Coachella that year after the permanent bathrooms. Although I will say this, like I've been to a lot of festivals. The porta potties at Coachella are clean and maintained very well. They have been in the past. So that is something to keep in mind. And like almost every bank of them also has like the ones that are a little bit nicer and kind of the air conditioned trailer. But yeah, the real permanent bathrooms, that's where it's at. Yeah,
I would sort of just say, I mean, just as an overall tip, I know like a lot of the tips that I sort of provided were, sort of not really material in the way they read, but I would tell people just have an overall kind of a mindset of personal safety. I talk to strangers and stuff like that, but do it within the confines of, good sense, that kind of thing. And just, keep an eye on your friends too. Like I said, if you see someone who needs help, step up, make sure they're okay. So kind of keep a mindset going into it that, hey, we're here to have a good time and stay safe. So like I said, personal safety is big for me. And like what you're talking about, the pickpockets, that's huge. Keep an eye out for stuff like that and don't let it ruin your weekend.
Michael, I agree 100%. Let's watch out for each other. So let's wrap it up. Why don't you tell people about how to find the Facebook group that you organized?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you go onto Facebook and one thing I've noticed is when you do a group search, for different Facebook groups, just starting with the word Coachella, just a myriad of things comes up. You have groups that offer, if you just want to sell your tickets, you've got weekend one groups. There's a weekend one group that I first noticed, and that's kind of got me thinking. I'm like, oh, maybe weekend two. Is there something for that? Since that's when I'm going. So yeah, I mean, if you just go and do a search for Coachella 2022 weekend two fan group is sort of what I labeled it, and you'll see us sitting at around, like I said, around 6,000 members right now, and and it should be fairly easy to find.
Awesome. Well, great job organizing that. You do a good job moderating it as well. I feel like so much stuff on social media I don't know, you get 6,000 people together and it's just not pretty. But the vibe that you've cultivated in that group is, really classy, actually. So thank you for putting that together and looking forward to meeting you out there. I know you're going to be working, but hopefully we can find the chance to meet up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I'm going there to see music. I've always wanted to go to Coachella, and, this is a bucket list thing for me. But I appreciate the kind words about the culture of the group and stuff like that, because it is important to me. I want it to be a welcoming space where people come in, really talk about things like music and talk about, hey, how do I do this in camping and stuff like that. So it needs to be a resource, and which speaks to one of the reasons why we don't allow ticket sales.
Yeah.
I think it detracts from it so much when you allow that. So that sort of pressure is off. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going. And like I said, first and foremost, I'm going as a fan, but I will be working. Like I said, I have some artist interviews lined up, and I'm excited for that.
Might I suggest, since L'Imperatrice is your number one for the weekend, or at least way up there, I guess you said no particular order, but let's try to have a group meetup for L'Imperatrice. That could be really, really fun.
I feel like that's awesome. Pod listeners, join us.
Cool.
Yeah, I like, and again, I mean, you guys will agree. If you like disco, and I know disco's making a big comeback, especially you have a lot of younger people listening to disco now. Yeah, they do it. They're such. I told them in the interview, I said, you guys are such old souls with the way that you've learned how to play disco, because it's so true to the way it sounded. So, and I was around in the 70s, just FYI, so I have a good idea how it's supposed to sound.
I love it. I mean, I've been a fan of that sound for like 10 plus years. I'm into it. Let's do it. Vanessa, there's going to be so many articles that you're going to put out the next couple days, weeks. What's going on with that?
I'm going to help everybody. This is my goal, is to bring Coachella to you wherever you are, to get you excited if you are going weekend two, to get you ready to see all the awesome things you're going to see. And if you're there weekend one, to help you relive. And if you're just at home, all the fun that we're having, but you can have by living vicariously through us from your nice air-conditioned space. You can find everything we do at pe.com/Coachella. pe.com, just like gym class. They will all be on there. I am on Twitter at Vanessa Franco, and it's Franco with a K. Come find me. I'm around. I think we were talking about jokingly doing VFTs. We'll get some spicy pie. I'll tell you random stories about my 14 years covering the festival. But we have so much good stuff. You can also sign up for the Festival Pass newsletter. I will be sending that out daily at Coachella. And that is again, go to pe.com, look for newsletters, look for Festival Pass. I'm the one who writes it. I'm literally will send you a rundown of everything that we saw and all the cool things that we did. And I can't wait to finally get out there with everybody again. It's been way too long. And, you can follow us here on the podcast. We're at Can't Feel the Heat on Instagram, on Twitter, on the website. Review us, share us with your friends on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, however you're listening to this. And we can't wait to see you out in the polo field.
I love it. I'd say the best way to get a hold of us is Instagram. Hit us up at Can't Feel the Heat. Thanks for listening.
You have just listened to Can't Feel the Heat, the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival unofficial podcast. Please rate us on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on all of your favorite platforms. Follow us on Instagram at Can't Feel the Heat and check out our website at www.can'tfeeltheheat.com.